think in retrospect, that all might have been kind of inappropriate.
It was extremely inappropriate. Hello, welcome to Guides the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are diving into more celebrity ghost stories. One of the best shows in history.
I love them.
They're
I absolutely love them.
Doesn't it seem like an incredible resource that they're free
I know.
on YouTube?
I know. I don't know.
What a gift. It's like how there are those there are those boring songs in the National Registry that are free for everybody.
You mean classical music and stuff?
Well,
those boring songs.
And then there are also free celebrity ghost stories.
It's
on
really
YouTube.
only those two things, which is confusing to me.
I
the
know.
only things
that are made free for the public.
that are made free for just, every little person out there to enjoy and be enriched by.
I was going to say, because they know that the people are enriched by this, so it would be wrong to hold back.
I think it's a civil right. You should have access to rights-free classical music and celebrity ghost stories.
Right.
Well, people need to know what happened to Ace Frehley. Am I right? I know people out there, they need to hear, Bach, Beethoven, and they need to know about George Wendt's rental house.
And Sebastian Bach.
Oh, wow.
Who's a perfect celebrity ghost story person.
You're absolutely right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, if only that had lined up. Do you have him by chance?
No, I don't.
Oh, but
do you have Ace Frehley?
I do have Ace Frehley.
Awesome.
Yeah. Can you imagine how great that joke would have been if you did have Sebastian Bach?
I know, unfortunately. This week, I have Enrico Colantoni.
I watch his too. I didn't take notes on it, but I just saw it. Yeah.
It was good, right?
It was good.
Yeah. And Anna Gasteyer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have I watched a whole episode.
Yeah.
So usually when we do celebrity ghost stories, because they're just on YouTube, you just click and whatever you get, you get.
Well, and also they do have some full episodes, but for the most part, LMN on YouTube, which is where these are housed, it's the Lifetime Movie Network. I don't know why they're not just on Lifetime.
Yeah,
but whatever. They've created these compilation videos, so it's not always just a normal full episode.
True.
Yeah.
But so I was saying to Allie, I don't know if you have this experience with Ryan, but sometimes I have to say to Allie, it'll be like, we get Zoe down for bed or whatever. And it's like, what do you want to watch? Yeah. And sometimes I say to her, well, I have to watch, Deadpool.
Of course.
Right? And so I was like, I have to watch celebrity ghost stories. Mm-hmm. Do you want to? And she was like, sure. And we ended up watching an entire episode. So I'm literally going to tell you about a particular episode of the show.
Great.
It'll be easy to tell people it's this episode if you want to go see it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the first time I've ever done that. Otherwise, I'm just picking and choosing a celebrity ghost story buffet.
Yeah.
How about I sample a little Firuza Balk over here?
Why not?
How about a little bite of Scott Baio? But no, today I watched an episode of the show.
Bayo bites don't sell as well as bagel bites, and I think for good reason.
Bayo bites, they're disgusting.
They're rancid.
All right, shall we then?
Let's do it. We're gonna get into it after this quick commercial break.
How quick was that? We're back already?
Not bad.
Oh, man, I wish we had more commercials.
Don't worry. We will.
We will. Yeah. Just wait, everybody, for the good stuff. Mid-show.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to start or should I?
I want you to, because you haven't said who you have yet. I'm curious.
Oh, I did say who I have. I have George Wendt.
Oh, I thought you were joking about George Wendt. Okay.
No, I was being deadly serious. I would never joke about George Wendt.
You're right. I should have known better.
How do you feel about George Wendt?
I would say almost 100% neutral.
I know. I was gonna. If you had a strong opinion one way or the other, I hate him.
Yeah. Or I love him.
I know.
Yeah.
So this is.
So wait, in your episode, it was George Wendt, Ace Frehley, and anyone else?
Yeah.
Who else?
Oh my God! I forgot. How could I forget? Wayne Newton.
Oh, I've seen this episode, by the way.
It's gold.
Yeah.
Gold.
Excellent.
It's funny to me that you watch this aside from just doing shows on it.
I mean, I think we came to doing this because I watched this show.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
Man, thank God for your terrible viewing habits.
My taste.
Yeah. So I straight up just watched season 3, episode 27.
Excellent.
It popped right in front of me. Wayne Newton was the thumbnail, and I couldn't resist.
Will and I had the honor of seeing Wayne Newton live with our family in Branson, Missouri.
Ah, yes, it was. What an honor.
Yeah.
It was. It was like their Christmas show or something.
Yeah,
I think
because
they had penguins on stage.
they brought out like a skating rink. And we had a Wayne Newton mouse pad that mom and or dad got from the gift shop.
That's right.
For years.
I wonder what happened
It was just
to that
like it was such a
mouse pad.
funny thing to get from a gift shop.
I know.
Yeah.
It's weird. Wayne Newton occupies that place where it's like he's simultaneously talented, but it's also a joke to like him.
Yes, totally.
That's got to be.
I know, like Wayne Newton, Liberace.
Yeah. How do you think you handle that internally, just in your own head? You're Wayne Newton, and you know that people are making fun of you while they like you.
I think from watching enough behind the musics on VH1 and stuff, it seems like it stings for like a good while.
Yeah.
And then you like break through a barrier where you're just like, I am so lucky to be able to get to do this.
Yeah, that's true. I'm very fortunate.
And then you just get to, you sort of like enjoy the camp of it or something.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I just laid out the table. Who do you want me to start with?
I think Wayne Newton,
You gotta
just because
start
we're
with Wayne
talking about him
Newton?
so much. Yeah.
All right. So, Wayne Newton. What I love about celebrity ghost stories is that everything thing is treated like very deadly serious.
I know.
And so they'll like fade to
They're
black.
like, boom. Yeah.
And then fade in on text on screen that says, show business legend Wayne Newton is known around the globe for his nickname, Mr. Las Vegas. That's not how I know him.
I was about to say, I actually didn't know that was his nickname.
No, I know him as Wayne Newton.
Right.
During the 1970s, while Wayne was playing nightly shows in Vegas, he became dear friends with another entertainment legend, Elvis Presley.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Freddie. Is Freddie Prinze Jr.'s dad Freddie Prinze Sr.? I guess just Freddie Prinze.
Oh.
Because I think they were friends. And one of my memories of going to that show in Branson, Missouri is that they had Freddie Prinze's like platform shoes in like a little like display case.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? His feet used to go in those shoes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, what do you want to do now? Hard Rock Cafe again? Anyway. They do all these reenactments too.
I really think I'm wrong. I don't think it was Freddie Prinze Sr. or somebody else. Anyway.
Robert Downey Sr. He was just short.
It was someone's
So he
dad who
needed
was
platform
famous.
shoes.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they do reenactments, and so they've got a young Wayne Newton sitting at a booth, and then he's like, so I was sitting there, and then this guy comes in, takes the booth next to me. And it's Elvis. Like, I don't know why they're even dancing around, because in the reenactment, they've got a guy that's dressed like Phil Margera. You know, like dressed up like Elvis, like that white spangly suit.
Right.
Like, oh, I wonder who it's going to be.
Sure.
When they teased Wayne Newton, they're like, and I saw up in the balcony a figure. And they show a silhouette, and I'm like, he saw the ghost of Elvis? There's no hiding.
It couldn't be no one but Elvis. Like a big collar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert, this is the story of Wayne Newton seeing the ghost of Elvis. But it starts with them having a very weird friendship. A nice, but very weird friendship, especially how it began.
Competitive or something?
Not at all. You'd think it might be.
Yeah.
So Wayne Newton describes sitting at this booth, and then a man comes in. And abruptly in the reenactment, the man turns and says what Wayne Newton claims the conversation was. Elvis turns to young Wayne Newton and goes, do you know a person named Sammy? You know a woman named Sammy?
Uh-oh.
And Wayne Newton goes, yeah, of course I do. She's my girlfriend. And Elvis says, she's my girlfriend too.
Oops.
You'd think oops, but then Wayne Newton goes, we had a girlfriend in common. And that meant that they were friends.
That's so awesome.
Isn't that weird? It's like the opposite.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know, what happens in Vegas.
Yeah.
So anyway, they end up becoming good friends because they have a girlfriend in common.
Weird. I mean, I guess, they might be using the word girlfriend differently. Like, maybe it's not like they're like steady girlfriend.
Yeah, I think.
They're just like hooking up.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of girlfriends.
Yeah.
Or something. It's Wayne Newton.
And Elvis.
I mean, the buffet
no
is open.
Lotharios.
Especially for Elvis. He's got a couple.
Well,
He's
yeah.
got a couple of buffets at his disposal. Anyway, so they become good friends, and then over the course of time, they talk a lot. And one night they end up having a really important conversation, like a heart to heart. It's such a good conversation about life and about relationships and marriage that Wayne Newton even just skips his second show of the night to keep talking to his buddy Elvis. And of course,
Doesn't seem very cool, though.
it doesn't seem that cool. I know you
Yeah.
get canceled because Wayne Newton's chatting with Elvie.
Right.
Anyone call him Elvie?
Hope so.
Yeah. So not long after, Wayne Newton gets a phone call. His like buddy goes, answer the phone. Hello, it's Elvis. And Wayne Newton goes, oh. And he goes, no.
Oh.
It's Elvis. Elvis has died, right?
Left the building.
Elvis has left the building. And so a few months after Elvis's death, which I think was very hard for Wayne Newton, it was his friend, he gets offered to do a show, and he's offered to do this show at the last theater that Elvis had performed at before his death. And it carries some significance to Wayne Newton because of that. He says that he doesn't want to play the show at that theater.
Yeah.
And then eventually he sort of comes around and he goes, you know what, I'll sort of do it as like a tribute to Elvis. He even starts working on an Elvis medley. And people tell him, like, through the grieving process, like, you know, I think even the night that Elvis died, it was like, I can't go on stage.
Yeah.
And someone said, go on and just play the songs and know that wherever he is, he'll hear them. Which is very sweet.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So anyway, he eventually decides to play this show in the Elvis Theater. And he gets about halfway through the show, turns to somebody on stage and goes, let's try the medley. He hasn't done the Elvis medley yet, but he's going to do it tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is an incredibly important detail that I left out. Before he took foot on the stage, he got a note from the manager of the theater that says, the balcony will be closed tonight. So this
I wonder where the ghost of Elvis is going to show up.
Exactly. This is like the most important detail that, like, sometimes you hear a story and you're like, oh, got it. I don't even need to hear anything else. You know the rest of the story before I even say a word.
Of course.
But so the note is essentially saying to Wayne Newton, during your patter, like while you're on stage talking or whatever, don't even refer to the balcony because it won't make any sense.
Okay, yeah.
There's nobody up there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm like, why are you telling Wayne Newton? Like,
why would he care about that?
What does he care? He can go
That's
up,
like
sing that
on
Cake in the Rain
Seinfeld
song and get it over with.
When Kitty from That 70s Show is Jerry's assistant, and she keeps being like, now, Jerry, just so you know, the pilot is in the audience tonight, and just keeps telling him details. And he's like, why are you telling me this?
Why are you telling me this?
Stop telling me these things.
And then he's on stage and he can't stop looking at the pilot.
Yeah.
Who's got like a spotlight on him. Anyway, so Wayne Newton goes on stage. The balcony is going to be empty tonight, and he decides to try the Elvis medley for the first time. Well, he gets about one note into, according to the reenactments, some generic Elvis sounding music because they don't have the rights. So he's just kind of like, I'm all shaken, you know. And then
maybe it's whatever song it was that Jeff put on that mixtape for me that sounded like Jailhouse Rock.
Oh yeah, Kristen and her old boyfriend who made a mixtape. It seemed to start with Jailhouse Rock.
We talked about it on the show a handful of weeks ago.
So stupid.
And then it just like went into some other sad song. But when I put it in, I was like, Jailhouse Rock.
So he gets one note into, you know, green alligator boots. You can't do blue suede shoes on Celebrity Ghost Stories.
Of course.
And boom, the theater goes dark. All the lights turn off. Except for one. A spotlight on Wayne Newton. And there, up in the balcony. This is the quote from Wayne Newton. I saw the image of a man, and I realized the image I was looking at was Elvis standing in the balcony. There was no mistaking it. He was smiling, and he was at peace, and he was happy with what he was seeing and hearing. Meaning the medley. I don't know about tasting, touching, seeing and hearing.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I was enthralled and entranced, and I continued to stare. It was like we were in the room all by ourselves. And then the lights come back on, and he continues the show as normal. Elvis is gone.
It's very cinematic.
Back to business. And he says, I was shook. It was a very jolting...
Was he all shook up?
I was all shook up. It was a very jolting effect because Elvis was gone, and I was back to doing what I was doing. I thought to myself, Wayne, you're cracking up. You're cracking up. So after the show, Wayne Newton heads downstairs for a little drink, and he's joined by the drummer from his band. And the drummer goes, well, that was weird, wasn't it? It turns out the drummer's like when the lights went off and everything. And then that man up in the balcony. So this is where I'm like, well, wait a minute.
There was an actual man?
There was an actual man now. It wasn't just in Wayne Newton's head or like some weird, break in the space-time continuum where Elvis's ghost and Wayne Newton made contact briefly.
Or did Elvis appear to the whole band?
To everybody, yeah. Well, I'm like, if this was a private thing for Wayne Newton, now the drummer gets it. What did the drummer also have a girlfriend in common with Elvis or something? Why does the drummer get a moment too? And then I was like, well, wait a minute, why is the balcony closed?
Yeah.
What if it was an Elvis impersonator who are known to be in Vegas and I suspect were cast in the reenactment section of this?
I would think.
seeing Elvis in a reenactment in Celebrity Ghost Stories was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that is kind of awesome.
But like it could have just been like a janitor up there dressed like Elvis mopping the balcony. You know?
Yeah, you take odd jobs.
That was real good, Mr. Newton. Thumbs up.
You got to cobble them all together to make one income.
Yeah.
So you're an Elvis impersonator, you're a janitor.
Yep, and you mop the carpeted floors of the balcony at the theater while the show is happening.
Maybe you're not so good at your job.
You're terrible at your job. You're going to get
You're
fired.
mopping the carpets.
You're mopping the carpets. But so it all wraps up with this line from Wayne Newton refuting your horrible claims that it wasn't the ghost of Elvis.
I never said that.
Wayne Newton says, it was truly Elvis.
Oh.
My dear friend. I know there have been all kinds of stories throughout the years of seeing Elvis here or there or other places. The truth is, I saw Elvis that night. I received a message from a dear, dear friend. He wanted me to know that he was okay. It was one of the greatest memories I'll ever have. Which is an incredibly sweet way to conclude.
Yes, that's very sweet.
Allie, as I was watching with Al, she made a comment. She was like, people have all those theories that Elvis faked his death. Like, I wonder if for some people, the Wayne Newton ghost story that happened a few months after Elvis's death, they almost treat like evidence of like, see,
proof.
That wasn't a ghost. He was really there. That's why the drummer saw him too.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe.
That was kind of a good point.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Not impossible.
Yeah, but there you go. Wayne Newton.
Delightful.
Elvis.
Well, why don't I jump on over to another theater story that it doesn't have as sweet an ending, but it is a cool story. This is Anna Gasteyer's story.
Excellent.
About performing in Wicked in a theater in Chicago.
Interesting. I didn't know she was she was like in shows like that.
I only did because I saw this episode a long time ago and I remembered it.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess, and she was Elphaba, which is like, you know, the witch one.
Yeah.
And I know she's got like a big note that people like freak out about.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So she must really have pipes.
You're right.
So she says that she has always been open to, you know, they do like a little thing in the beginning just to set up like what the person's relationship to like ghosts and stuff is. She says that she's actually always been open to the supernatural and she kind of picks up on vibes and stuff. So this wasn't, you know, completely foreign to her, this idea. So I was pretty pleased. So her episode was in a compilation episode. So it was like Celebrity Ghost Stories on Vacation.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was in there because she didn't. I mean, I guess they were thinking Anna Gasteyer was on SNL and yet this takes place in Chicago.
Oh, maybe.
This is my only guess.
She couldn't possibly have lived there.
I know, but it took place, I think she said in like, well, I guess she was on SNL at this time, like in the early 2000s or something. But the rest of the episode was the beloved Daniel Stern segment.
Oh, beloved from our Brownies and Daniel Stern episode 1,000,000 years ago.
Yep. And like a few other little celebrity things. But I was pleased to see that hers was the most replayed on the episode. So people must like her little story. So she was playing Elphaba, the like, you know, green Wicked Witch of the West in Wicked at the Oriental Theater in Chicago, which she says is one of the oldest, most beautiful theaters in the country. And she said that there was like just like all this like gorgeous like carved wood in the theater and there were like little monkeys even carved into the wood and stuff, so it felt very like Ozzy. And it just felt like it was just this like perfect sort of like setup to be doing Wicked in the theater, and she was just like loving it.
They should have had Chris Kattan come out as one of the flying monkeys. It was training from Mr. Peepers.
You're absolutely right. But they would have to make sure to take the apple away from him.
Of course.
Or else he would make a mess.
And he might do a lot of humping, too. Which I think is mostly what that character did.
Definitely.
Missed opportunity to have Chris Kattan in the new Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah, he should have taken over from Andy Serkis.
He should have.
Give Andy Serkis a break.
Let's let Andy
He's
Serkis
done
retire.
Enough. And so why don't we just like get rid of the mocap, motion capture?
Yes, absolutely. We don't even need CGI.
No. Just get Kattan in
Just
there.
Mr. Peepers. Yeah.
Larger than life.
I can borrow the ears from the set. You think Saturday Night Live still has the ears? Is Mr. Peepers' ears?
Does Saturday Night Live have like a little like museum gallery kind of
They
thing?
really should.
Because I'm thinking like on Bravo with Watch What Happens Live, which is like it's like a late night show.
Yeah.
On the set of Watch What Happens Live, they have an extremely jokey gallery of things from like the shows. And in that kind of scenario, like Mr. Peeper's ears would be somewhere.
I would love to go to, like a Hard Rock Cafe, but it's got
very
SNL
like that.
stuff.
Yes.
Or like Branson, Missouri, when you were talking about the Robert Downey Jr.'s high top shoes or whatever.
I know. I'm completely wrong. I realized Freddie Prinze Sr. was a comedian. I can't think of the person's name that I'm thinking of. It was a
Sammy Davis Sr. So, but they could have Mr. Peeper's apple. Like encased in glass.
They could have Goat Boy's chewed up tin can.
Mangoes, spangled golden shorts. I don't know why I'm only thinking of Chris Kattan characters. But yes.
I would love a Hard Rock Cafe that's SNL.
I would love that. That would be great.
I miss Hard Rock Cafe and like Planet Hollywood and all those like weird restaurants. Do you remember that there was the Fashion Cafe?
No.
That like it didn't do well. It was like I think Christy Turlington, what's her Cindy Crawford and like Naomi Campbell like got together and basically made like a Planet Hollywood but for fashion.
Oh.
And that's like extremely niche.
Interesting.
But I don't think it did very well.
Rocco Bodie of Mega64 has tweeted literally just Google Planet Hollywood Rocco Bodie, and I'm sure you'll find the pictures.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's like, I always wanted my family to eat next to Thudbutt. Like they had the rolled up circle orb of Thudbutt that would roll down in the movie Hook. He's like, no one ever wanted to eat next to this thing. I don't know why. And then he also posted like pictures of Sylvester Stallone's naked dummy of himself from Demolition Man that was like encased in glass in the ceiling.
It's like hanging over you like a disgusting chandelier.
Yes, it's like a gross, rotting, aging Sylvester Stallone puppet that's completely nude and not anatomically correct, which somehow is almost more disturbing, or at least equally disturbing.
Yes.
As if it were anatomically correct.
It's so weird. Does Planet Hollywood exist anymore? Like, can you go to the city and go to Planet Hollywood?
That's a great question. Hard Rock occupies the same place in my mind, and I think I was about to say yes, but I think I'm thinking of Hard Rock. I took a bunch of students to Hard Rock. I worked at. I'm sorry for this major digression.
Sorry.
This is at least a short story.
At least it's still celebrity based.
It's still celebrity.
Yeah.
Not what I'm about to say. An old job that I had, I got to go to the UN, which is unreasonable for Will Rogers to end up at the UN. I volunteered to take a bunch of international students around New York City. And there was literally like 80 students that we had to keep track of. And we brought them to a Hard Rock Cafe and did the count, and 2 of them were missing. I wonder what happened. A boy and a girl were nowhere to be found, Kristen. I wonder what was going on.
Awesome.
And so I remember like locking eyes with my fellow employees and being like, let's do this. And then I marched out into Times Square as if I would see them or spot them. Really what I was doing was finding a way to not have to be in Hard Rock Cafe.
Right. Yeah. I know. I want to believe that Hard Rock Cafe. I specifically, I think I got like really wasted in a Planet Hollywood once. When I think of Planet Hollywood, I think of like
They're the same to me. A novelty restaurant. You know?
And like headache inducing and like claustrophobia and stuff.
Totally.
And even though that's the case, I want to believe that it still exists out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want it to be there.
I'm sure
I don't think it is.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. I'm getting a very important phone call from a very important person.
Is it Mom?
It was Mom, but then she hung up on me. I don't know. Let's try something here.
Let's find out.
This episode's going to be a catastrophe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening.
Hey, Will.
Hello.
The person that Kristen's thinking about,
Yeah.
it was Tony Orlando.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you. That's exactly who I'm thinking of.
Who the hell's Tony Orlando?
Well, he shared that museum.
Oh, the platform shoes?
Yes.
Newton.
Oh, okay. The
Thank you.
platform
Yeah,
shoes
those
Kristen
big
was thinking
chunky
about.
boots.
So just to confirm, the reason that we're still on this is because 20 minutes ago, Kristen had half of a memory from 30 years ago about seeing a pair of shoes and she couldn't remember whose they were.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It's hard to believe.
But see, I am a bearer of ridiculous info. So
Much appreciated.
No, thank you, Mom.
okay.
All right. Thank you,
Go
Mom.
forth and prosper.
We will. You as well. Safe journeys. All right. Bye, Mom. Love you.
Bye, Mom. Love you. That's so funny.
Who's Tony Orlando?
He was, I guess, I obviously don't know. I guess he was a musician.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad you saw those shoes.
Me too. I'm glad they've been a recurring motif in this episode.
Important. Yeah. Important information.
Well, I'm glad we know now to close the loop.
Me too. Thank you for calling, Mom.
Yeah. Okay. Did we close the loop on whatever we were talking about with Planet Hollywood?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think so.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, does it matter?
No,
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, so back to Wicked.
Back to Wicked and Anna Gasteyer.
Okay, so it was a gorgeous theater.
Yes.
I know how this happened now. We were making jokes about
Oh, Mr. Peepers.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
Mr. Peepers really got
he got
things
us
off
there.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so she said that they were doing a performance and they were at the end of the first act where I've seen clips of this or something. Like, so I've never seen Wicked, but like at the end of the first act, the Wicked Witch, Elphaba, gets lifted up like way high in the air. And she said that she was like really way up there in the rafters. And when she was up there, you know, she has this like big vantage point perspective. And she was looking down in the wings and she could see all these little groups of people together. And she just thought it was weird, like families standing together backstage. And she was like, what? Like, this isn't who's supposed to be back here, but you know, whatever. And then, you know, she comes down, it's between acts or something, and she needs to go to her dressing room. And she said the theater was really huge. And to get to her dressing room, she said it was this labyrinthine, is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Set of corridors that you had to go through. And so you had to like turn a bunch of corners and stuff. It honestly sounds very cool, this theater.
Sure.
And at one point she heard a little kid's voice and she was just kind of like, weird, whatever. But, you know, they're, I guess, maybe kid actors in the show. And so it wasn't the craziest thing. And she turned a corner and there was a woman there with two kids and they were in period costume. And she just kind of thought, oh, another actor, because she said that they didn't look lost or anything. They just looked like at home there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not lost or anything. And so she smiled and just kind of like nodded to say hi. And the woman nodded back, but she said that she just had this air of just like major sadness. Like they just felt very, very sad. But you know, she's got to keep going. She just kept going on her way. And she walked a little bit further and she just kind of turned back to look at them again and they were gone. But not like disappeared into thin air, but they just weren't there anymore. Yeah. And she's just like, all right, whatever. So she keeps walking. She made her way to her dressing room and she was getting her makeup touched up. And she said to her makeup artist just conversationally, like, man, there have been a lot more people backstage lately. Like lots of families and stuff are here. And the makeup artist said, oh, those are probably people from the fire. The anniversary of that is this week. And Anna Gasteyer was like, what? And she was like, yeah, it's the anniversary of the Great Iroquois Fire. Oh. So then Anna Gasteyer tells the story of this. And it basically ends here and it's just sad. She said that on December 30th in 1903, the Iroquois Theater, the Oriental Theater in Chicago, I don't know if it's the same name, but it was when this took place, was built directly on top of the remains of this theater.
Okay.
Was burned down in the worst theater fire in U.S. history. And that the theater capacity was 1,600, and then they had packed in about 400 more people into the aisles and just wherever else, because they were just like whooping it up. Get them in. Yeah, I guess. And somehow something sparked, and the stagehands dropped the fire curtain, which created a backdraft. And basically, like, I don't know if this happened.
I've seen the movie Backdraft.
I've actually never seen Backdraft.
Neither have I.
Oh, and it basically shot like a bunch of fire toward the audience.
Yeah.
And you know, there was like a melee. Like people are trying to get out, they can't get out. Some people got out into the back, but still 600 people died.
Oh my God.
200 of them were children. And then the Oriental Theater was built directly over the site of that theater. So there have been a ton of ghost sightings in this theater over time. And apparently this production of Wicked was happening, you know, during one of the periods of the anniversaries. And so that was kind of where it was left. She basically said, like, I hope that this production, maybe they, I don't know, she said, maybe they enjoyed it. Maybe it gave them some peace or something.
Maybe they were sad because they weren't enjoying it.
Maybe. That's true.
You know?
But,
This
Maybe that was the
sucks.
strong air of sadness that she felt in the
Right.
labyrinthine corridors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
L. Frank Baum is rolling in his grave. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that fire. That sounds like a nightmare.
I know, it's horrible.
Weirdly, that reminds me of in the movie The Sixth Sense. Haley Joel Osment there's like this pretty iconic scene in school where he's talking about I think he says to a teacher like, back in some war or something, this school was used as a hospital. Or something like that. And so there are ghosts in the school, or there was a fire.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
A fire on stage or something like that. It's been too long since I've seen The Sixth Sense, but it felt like that, where it's just like, this building used to be something else, and something horrible happened there.
Right.
That, like, the history
is like impacting it.
Yeah, the ghost story is a history story. I like that. That's interesting.
Too. I saw somebody tweet recently and say, if The Sixth Sense were coming out today, do you think that the twist will be given away in the trailer? Or hinted at very heavily? And I wonder.
No, because
I don't think so either. The twist is so huge, but I feel like trailers do give stuff away even more now than they used to.
Maybe.
But I wonder how it would be handled.
Trailers definitely have always given stuff away. I mean, the job of a trailer is to get you to buy a ticket, so they'll do whatever it takes.
I know, but I feel like people have talked about, and I agree, in the last handful of years, like trailers sometimes just are laying out the full beats.
That's definitely
of a
true.
movie.
I just don't know if that's unique to now. Let's look at we should look at old trailers for like old horror movies and test that theory.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
All right. Well, hey, I've got more celebrities who have seen more ghosts, but real quick, we want to just say to you that if you're enjoying this episode, and for God's sake, why wouldn't you be?
Right.
Someone give us a negative review because we talk about celebrity ghost stories too much. I don't know what you want.
Right.
This story is this show. If for some reason, if we had to stop Guide to the Unknown, I could absolutely imagine doing a spinoff or whatever. That's all celebrity ghosts. It's ghosts. It's pure ghost stories with the wonderful dressing that these are people that you've seen before.
Totally. And some of them are so obscure and random where you're just like, oh, I haven't thought about them in a while.
Yes, exactly.
So it's such a fun jolt.
I love doing this topic so much.
Me too.
So if you're enjoying the show, leave us a good review and tell us why you love celebrity ghost stories so goddamn much.
One fact about why you love it.
Yes. If you could have that on our desks by Monday, that would be much appreciated. Why don't we actually just start with a review since I'm on that?
Sure.
So this is a review that came to us from April titled Great Company, Great Time.
Oh, that's nice.
I was so excited to stumble upon the podcast with a quick search for Ghost Adventures podcasts. And so I started listening to Ghost Adventures. That was our former spinoff.
Yes.
When I discovered the limited episodes of that podcast, I dove deep into Guide to the Unknown. My partner in life has no interest in the macabre, so it's been something I've enjoyed for years, alone for years. Now I have these two to get my horror itch scratched. Will has an amazing voice for storytelling, and Kristen is quick with the wit. Keep being awesome. 5 stars.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated.
That is so nice.
Now, on the topic of spin-offs and of Ghost Adventures,
yes,
that show, we sunsetted it, but we folded all those episodes into our exclusive Patreon podcast feed.
Yes.
Because if you're enjoying this show and you want more, or if you just want to be able to support us, which we would greatly appreciate, go check out patreon.com/GTTUpod. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff with the Patreon lately.
Yes.
Some of it is just like organization and business stuff, but I think that it's creating hopefully a really good experience for people who back us.
I think, it should hopefully just make things easier to use for people who back us. And so, easier is better.
Absolutely. So for one thing, if you sign up for even the $1, even if you sign up for the free level, you just get posted about the things that we're up to. At the $1 level, you get access to our Discord. At the $4 level, you start to unlock some of the really cool stuff.
Yeah.
You get access to our exclusive podcast, The Netherworld Dispatch, 1 episode every single month. You get access to Ghost Adventures. That entire back catalog is in that feed. And you strip the ads out of the Guide to the Unknown experience. A pure listening experience. The Banshee tier gets 2 episodes of the Netherworld Dispatch every month, and the Demon tier gets all all for the demons. 4 episodes of the Netherworld Dispatch every month, and we've been experimenting with a few other things for the demons going forward. Yes, but more on that as it develops, I think. So thank you so much for those of you who do back us.
Yeah, thank you.
It is such a fun show to do. The most recent episode of the Netherworld Dispatch is episode 160, titled Unsolved Smiles.
This was a great one.
I think this might be the best episode of us looking at unsolved mysteries we have ever done.
I think so too. And it seems like the people who have listened to it feel that way.
Yes, the Discord has been very pleased.
Yeah. This is a good one.
Robert Stack.
Which tiers got this one? Do you know?
This is Demon Tier.
Demon Tier, okay.
If it's an even numbered episode, it's Demons only.
Okay, yep.
So Robert Stack smiles oddly.
It's really weird. He doesn't usually do it. Like, he'll be like, and so this was a mystery. And then they cut to the segment. And this one, he does a weird smile.
Toothy grin.
Yeah.
It really sent a chill up my spine.
Very strange.
But then some of the greatest reenactments of all time that we saw. Alice.
I don't even know how to talk about Alice. Alice is a woman who experienced a ghost. She's an older gal. I would say to the naked eye, somebody would write off Alice. They're just like, she's just a normal old lady. No, she's not. Alice has it with a capital I.
Oh, yes.
She is
a spark.
Yeah.
She's a star. She wanders into the frame already talking.
She's the best.
Robert Stack is even just be like, and so we introduce Alice. And she's already talking.
She's already going.
I heard the voice over here. It said, Alice. And then she wanders out into the hall and does like a perfect 45-degree turn toward the stairs. She's got one hand in front of her, just sort of like noodling her fingers around.
She's got grace.
Yes. Oh, Alice.
She has presence. She has everything.
And one of the funniest screams I've ever heard is in this episode. So go check that out. That's Unsolved Smiles, patreon.com/GTTUpod. Thank you so much, everybody who backs us.
Yes.
And I think people get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
And we certainly do. It's tremendous for us. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, last thing of the break, and it's commercials. Okay, so I'm going to give you a choice. We only have time for one or the other.
I know.
I have George Wendt and I have Ace Frehley.
What do you like the most?
I like them both.
You do?
I like them both. So I think you've just got to choose. And I hate that they're in this position again.
I know.
People are constantly having to choose between George Wendt and Ace Frehley.
This keeps happening, and I hate that we're perpetuating it. I would like Ace Frehley. I'm just going with my gut.
Consider it done. Okay. Ace Frehley, who I think was the star child in Kiss. I don't know. I don't know much.
Do they have names?
Yeah, there's like Cat, Man, and
I never thought about it. I guess I just was like, oh, they just have their makeup like that each.
Tongue Lord.
Ew, I do not like his tongue. Like one bit.
No way. No way. So the title card for Ace Frehley says, considered one of the greatest guitar players of all time, Ace Frehley is one of the founding members of Kiss. Usually it would continue and be like, and he had the worst night of his life. They don't, they just leave it there. They just introduce who he is. His story is pretty bizarre.
Okay, great.
I'll say. Ace Frehley kicks right off with this line. I always had a sense there was some type of connection with me and the other side. And I think that connection would be proven and tested, Chrissy.
Oh, great.
For he bought a nice old house in New York. Like, it looks like upstate New York. But things go wrong almost instantly the second that he moves in with his wife and daughter. Stuff keeps going missing. They show him putting down a pocket knife or something, and then he turns back to get it and it's gone.
Yeah.
It almost seems to blink out of reality. He starts seeing things out of the corner of his eye. And then when he turns and looks, it's not there anymore. He says, the hair on the back of my neck would stand up and I'd go, huh? What's going on? Stuff like that. But he said, as long as nobody hurts me, I'll go with it.
Okay.
It was just benign haunting stuff.
Yeah.
Classical haunting stuff and not getting in the way of anything. Not hurting anyone.
Okay.
Or was it? One day, he's eating breakfast and he hears a thud. He goes running into the living room to find his daughter Monique at the bottom of the staircase.
Oh, God.
Quote, she felt there was a kind of force that pushed her or made her lose her balance. She went falling down the stairs. She broke a rib.
Oh, my God.
It was a bad fall.
Yeah.
Not long after, his wife...
How old was his daughter, just out of curiosity?
Oh, I don't know.
It's fine.
I'm not sure.
What'd they show in the reenactment?
I guess I would say maybe teens, something like that. Not long after his daughter falls, he in a reenactment, at least, it's hard to tell what.
Look,
really
I don't
occurred.
trust the reenactments, but I was just getting a visual.
I think the reenactments are canon. His wife is going up the stairs with like a basket of laundry and hears sounds. She hears the sounds of kids laughing. He doesn't say that, but in the reenactment, she hears kids laughing. And she ends up falling down the stairs herself.
They
also,
gotta get away from these stairs.
I know. Also saying
Or get
that
one of those lifts.
she felt she had been pushed and she breaks her wrist.
Oh my God.
So 2 falls in a short period of time on those stairs, 2 broken bones. Daughter breaks a rib, wife breaks her wrist.
They have to get the my baby takes the morning train lift.
When George is pretending to have a hurt leg or whatever. Yeah. So everybody all of a sudden in the house starts arguing with each other nonstop. It's almost like something is dropping the mood.
Yeah.
They can't stop arguing with each other. Ace Frehley says that he feels like it's because of energies that were in the house. And he says that because of all the fighting, because of the mood in the house, his marriage fell apart.
Oh.
They fully get divorced. His daughter moves out. I don't know how much time has passed, but she must have been of an age to move out. And then he eventually decides, I can't stay here. I have to get out too. So Ace Frehley moves out to California. Now that he's in California, away from the house, everything seems good again. He starts a new relationship with a woman named Rachel. He's feeling good. He stays away for about a year.
Yeah.
And then he says to his girlfriend, Rachel, I've got this house in New York. Maybe there was another reason why, but he's like, let's go over to the other coast. Let's go to New York. I've got a house over there. And almost the moment that they arrive at the house in New York, the second that his girlfriend steps inside, at least in the reenactment, you shot a face, and I was like, you did that like grim face, and
What's happening?
I was trying to concoct a joke about how she could instantly fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't make sense, so I almost made the joke, she falls up the stairs, which also wouldn't make sense. Just so you know.
But
2 jokes I almost said. Thank God I didn't.
phew.
I was close.
Yeah.
But no, in the reenactment, the second that they walk in, and he says that it happened instantaneously, but in the reenactment, basically, like they walk through the doorway, and his girlfriend doubles over in pain, holding her stomach.
Oh my God.
And he says, she says, there's something wrong with this house. One day, not long after, Rachel is going down those stairs, Kristen.
Oh no.
You gotta install like a slide at this
You
point.
have to.
Get a fire pole.
Yeah.
Like the Ghostbusters firehouse.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So she gets pushed down the stairs again, Chrissy.
They gotta wear like sports padding anytime they're near the staircase.
You're right. Just like have a bunch of pillows like duct taped to them.
Yeah.
You know, remember in Wild and Crazy Kids, those big rolling balls?
Wild and Crazy Kids.
Yeah.
Or they could have, what did we call it when we would go down the stairs? Remember, we would like go flying down the stairs.
What?
In Connecticut, we would take like pillows and stuff.
In Connecticut?
Yeah.
I have no memory.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, we won't bore everybody.
Oh,
with
wait
this.
a minute. Yeah, we used to throw like a bunch of pillows and stuff at the bottom of the stairs, right?
Yeah, and then we would like slide down the stairs like
That's-
on pillows and stuff.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. They could do that. We were never hurt.
Yeah, I jumped out a window once and got
Well,
hurt.
we were never hurt doing that.
Probably shouldn't have jumped out the window, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, probably.
Probably was a mistake when I jumped out that window.
It was probably a mistake when you jumped out the window, but we never hurt ourselves when we were doing that thing down the stairs.
That's true.
So
Yeah, okay,
I think
fair
Ace
enough.
Frehley and his family should have done that.
Well, I'll give him a call.
Yeah.
So, quote, she went rolling down the stairs into the floor.
Okay.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Like she gets stuck halfway through the floor.
Like Juggernaut
Like
in
quantum-
X-Men The Last Stand.
Oh my God, Kristen. Kristen just watched X-Men The Last Stand recently.
Yeah.
In 2024. Can you believe it?
This weekend. He gets stuck in the middle of the floor because Kitty Pryde puts him in there.
Maybe Kitty Pryde was haunting Ace Frehley's
Maybe.
house. It did kind of look like the X-Mansion. It was like a beautiful old, like mansion in upstate New York.
Yeah, nice.
So Rachel goes falling down those stairs. She gets 3 broken ribs.
Oh my God.
He says she had 3 broken ribs, and that was scary. From there, he now feels like he's part of a cycle that's starting over. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, he and Rachel are arguing, like dogs and cats, he says. He said it felt like he was locked in a bad dream. And I thought that was kind of interesting that, like, in some of these ghost stories, I don't often hear this, at least. Like, I'm being haunted. I leave the house. Everything's okay. I go back to the house and it starts over from scratch.
Yeah.
It's like you can almost predict the next thing that's going to happen or something. So one night, this didn't happen the first time. This is a whole new thing for the cycle. Ready for this?
Yes.
In the middle of the night, Ace Frehley is asleep in bed. Rachel is staying up. She's like watching a movie on TV or something like that. And according to her, he will not remember this in the morning, Kristen.
Uh-oh.
Ace Frehley wakes up and starts pointing into the corner of the room.
Uh-oh.
Now, I'll remind you, he said that he's felt like he has always had some type of connection with him and the other side.
Oh, right. So.
So he starts pointing in the corner of the room. And he mumbles something that I couldn't make out. She hands him a pen and paper. And he starts scribbling what he sees.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting instinct.
A very interesting instinct. A suspiciously interesting instinct, in my opinion. Reminded me of...
That would not be what I would do if Ryan's setup was pointing in the corner.
No. In Indiana...
Although I guess if they have a different context.
Yeah.
But still, go ahead.
In Indiana Jones 4, there's a character who's like kind of miming stuff in the air. And Indiana Jones hands him a pen and paper.
Yeah.
And the villain who's with them goes, "Auto writing. I should have noticed this." It's like the clumsiest line ever.
It's so funny.
I was just like thinking of Rachel seeing Ace Frehley. Auto writing.
Auto writing.
I should have noticed this, even though she did. Anyway, so he scribbles something on the paper and falls right back to sleep. When he wakes up, he has no memory. She hands him the piece of paper. It's a drawing of two very serious-looking children.
Oh.
They bring a psychic into the house. A little boy and a little girl had lived in the house. They had been abused at the hands of their mother and eventually were murdered by her. In the reenactment, Ace Frehley doesn't say this, but in the reenactment, they show the kids at the bottom of the stairs as if they'd maybe been pushed down the stairs by their mother.
Okay.
But again, I'm not sure what of the reenactment is like. Are they dramatizing him saying, like, the psychic said they were killed on the stairs, but I never even brought up the stairs. How did the psychic know?
Totally.
We have no idea. But the reenactment goes, well, there's stair stuff.
Yeah. So
Put
it
the
must
kids
be
on
this.
Right? I don't know. So the psychic says that all the fights that he has in that house with his ex-wife, with his daughter, and now with his girlfriend Rachel, are because everybody was picking up on all this negative energy that's in the building. And then he says, all I can do is attribute all that negative stuff to these unhappy children. So Rachel says, with this information, she says, honey, I'm getting out of here, with or without you. And he says, look, I'm right behind you.
Clever girl.
I know. So they both move back out to California. Happy ending. They've been happy ever since.
Okay, good.
But what of the house? He says, when I think back on all this negative stuff that happened in that house, being a father, I feel bad for those two kids. He tells the crew of Celebrity Ghost Stories he's gonna put the house up for sale in a few months.
Okay.
Like after recording this episode?
Yeah.
And he says, good luck to the next owner. I hope they have better luck than I do.
Okay.
What a non-ending.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I don't think I've always felt this way about Celebrity Ghost Stories. For this episode, what I did both times, I was like, this just kind of just like ends like doop.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, are we too trained on ghost stories from fiction where it's like there is a contrived conclusion, not contrived meaning bad, but like it's a concocted conclusion of like,
to be satisfying.
The ghost moves on to the other side, or the ghost is defeated, or whatever. But for Ace Frehley, is like, what am I supposed to do?
So I'm going to sell my house.
Sell the house and good luck.
Yeah.
Someone's going to fall down those stairs because of Ace Frehley. Do you think he reported it on the on the listings?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Ace Frehley.
I guess
what would you do? I guess I would.
I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do.
I guess I would. Like you would like report that there's a weak spot in the floor in the kitchen or something. Like
that's not good.
No, it's not. Well, you got to tell the next people.
Yeah, you got to tell the people.
That's
what
I'm
you're
saying.
saying.
Yeah. You would have to say.
There's not a weak spot in your kitchen floor, is there?
No.
Okay, that'd be awful. If you fell halfway through the floor.
Like Juggernaut.
Kristen as Juggernaut. Just your legs dangling in Mom's living room.
Mom tickling my feet. She thinks it's funny.
I'm in pain, Mom.
Mom, help me.
Stop it.
Like that lady who, when I was in an aerial yoga class, tickled my feet.
Yes.
A stranger to me.
Yeah.
My feet were hanging out of the silks, and she tickled them. I looked back, and she was just smiling at me. She was an older woman, so I think she thought she could get away with it. But no, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Sorry.
No.
I used to go to yoga with a former high school teacher, and she used to tickle my feet.
What? What? You never told me that. I know that you used to. What? What?
I haven't thought about that in a long time.
William, what?
Why are you hitting me? Stop hitting me. That doesn't help anything.
What do you mean she used to tickle your feet? That means it happened more than once?
Probably maybe a couple of times, yeah, during yoga. I don't really know. I always thought it was strange.
When during the yoga?
I guess I had my feet out. I don't know. I don't remember yoga that much.
But what were you doing in yoga where she would reach out and tickle your feet?
I have no idea. I don't remember. But I used to spend a lot of time with high school teachers.
Yeah, I know.
In like social settings.
My God.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that in a while. I wonder if I was still a student.
High school, right?
I have no idea.
William Kenneth Bill Dunn Rogers.
I had to have been out of high school. Why was I still...
I honestly think that you were, because I kind of remember this.
There are a few
even so.
There are a few high school teachers that gave me their phone numbers at graduation. Several.
I know.
So, listen, I was very funny.
I know. No, I know. But what? What? That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
This was a younger teacher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
She was probably in her 20s.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, William.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the older teacher who was mean to me.
No. She also gave me her number, but no.
No, I know. That's why. That's why it was even a question.
Yeah.
This is so insane.
Yeah, I forgot.
I would like an episode about this.
Yeah, I
please.
forgot about that. Yeah, there were. Yeah, my high school experience was unusual.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I just looked at our live chat to see if it was exploding.
Yeah, not really.
This is shocking to me.
This is very weird.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to talk about Enrico Colantoni now?
That's what everyone says. Everything has been more important.
Oh my God. I'm reeling. Okay. Anyway. I guess anyway.
Yeah.
What? Do you have something else to say? You look like you're...
No, I think it's something that you already know, so it's not going to blow your hair back.
Well, what?
But this one always confused me. There was a rumor that I found out after graduation. Somebody told a rumor that I used to, during school, go smoke pot with one of the teachers, like, in the building.
Yeah.
I don't know why that would... I don't know how that could possibly even be plausible.
There's no way.
Or, like, cool to share as a rumor. It's weird.
Nah, I mean, that's a good rumor, I guess. I think
it's
like
lame. I think it's pretty lame.
As rumors
But I had to
go.
tell this person, I was like, don't tell people. One, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Two, don't tell people that. That's not good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Nah, that seems like a plausible high school rumor or whatever, but
Yeah, I guess
no.
so. I guess so.
That's how bizarre.
Yeah, I forgot.
How bizarre.
I forgot about that. She was being playful. It wasn't right. To confirm, it wasn't right.
Also, who wants to touch other people's feet? Like
I know.
that?
I thought it was very strange.
Like there are layers to it. Like it's weird anyway, but of all things,
I know.
to tickle feet.
A lot of feet stuff happened to me in high school. There's that girl who put her feet in my face.
Oh yeah.
I was in the middle of an assembly. So specifically for the senior year of high school, I was a funny guy.
He was the man.
I was on stage a lot. I did a lot of like comedy and a lot of like hosting stuff and whatever. And I was in the middle of an assembly and I felt something soft just cradle the side of my face. And then,
oh my God.
And then it happened again on the other side of my face. And I thought it was a friend goofing around or something. And I turned back and it was a girl that I barely knew. It was like the kind of person that's like, I have a few classes with you. I know your name. That's about it. And she had taken her shoes off and put her sock feet on either side of my head like two phones. And I scooched them off me once I realized it wasn't a friend being playful. And I went, what are you doing? I don't know. And she got this deer in the headlights look. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, from her perspective, why wouldn't you be horrified,
She
mortified
has
now
probably thought about this over the years.
that the funny guy
And,
is
like-
not responding in kind to you putting your disgusting, dirty feet on his face? Listen,
Nightmarish.
I don't like being touched. I think everybody has this experience. I don't want strangers to touch me. Even if I'm friends with you, I don't touch people that much.
Fine.
The former teacher who used to take me to yoga a lot and touched my feet, not good.
I cannot believe I did not know that
The
part.
girl in school who put her sock feet on my face, nope, no thank you. I think people might think that like a boy would be like, any kind of contact with someone is nice. No, don't touch me. Do not touch me.
No,
and I don't
touch people.
No.
Oh my God.
I just found out how to like properly, I got Allie to just work on shaking hands.
That's good.
A fist bump
Yeah, at most.
at most. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Look, Eric Colantoni had a haunted house, and that's the end of it. And also, if you're wondering who the heck is Eric Colantoni, he was the dad from Veronica Mars, and he was on Just Shoot Me.
Yeah.
You've seen him? You go, oh, I like that guy.
He also does a funny voice in Galaxy Quest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you about his haunted house, but I am reeling. Just know that 50% of me,
There's nothing to do about it.
I know, but I'm shocked by this foot tickle.
No, that's weird.
50% of me is going to be telling you this story. 50% of me is going, oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God.
I think in retrospect
This is very bad.
that all might have been kind of inappropriate.
It was extremely inappropriate. You were like fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
This is very bad.
Yeah. At best. I'm really not sure.
I
used to.
You would obviously know better than I would.
They used to sneak me off campus too. You know that.
I
right?
do know that.
You weren't supposed to.
I do know that. No, the reason.
Your class had ruined the idea of doing off-campus lunch at high school.
Believe me, it wasn't my fault.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I know you had nothing to do with it. Kristen was sleeping at lunch.
I was a huge loser in high school.
Disagree. Everyone else were the losers. You knew better.
I don't know about that, Will.
So during lunch, I would not go to the cafeteria. I would go hang out with a couple of the teachers that I liked.
Yes.
And then one day they were like, do you want to go to this restaurant?
Crazy.
And so I had to sneak out of the building and get into their cars to go over to lunch.
It's so.
In retrospect, that too might not have
No.
been great.
No, it's not great at all. So ungreat. The reason I think that you were out of high school, you would know better than I would, obviously, but I knew that you were going to yoga with that teacher. I think that I would have flipped out way
If it were
more.
in school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
God almighty. Oh, God. Okay.
So what happened to Enrico Colantini? I really got to know. I need to know.
He's fine. He's fine. I don't know if anything like that happened to him. Probably less scary than all that.
Yeah.
Well, he was always open to the supernatural, in case anybody's wondering. But he never had an experience until he got a place outside of L.A. Oh boy, whoopee-doo.
Whoopee-doo. Whoopee-doo. First time that's ever been said on this show.
Whoopee-doo.
You really are distracted.
I am. That is so great. This is all great. I mean, obviously the foot thing is what got me there, but now that I'm thinking about all of this, I'm like, this is all insane. That's
Yeah.
just one piece of a puzzle that I didn't know, but the whole picture is insane.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, I know you're not.
I just don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I know you're not. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. All right. You got a place up in the mountains.
Okay. This is exciting.
Yeah, this is exciting. I will say it is a compliment to your Ace Frehley story.
Okay.
Our stories are
Aligning.
they are, because there was 2 theaters and now this is 2 upstate
Okay,
house
sure.
stories. So there's that. He got a place up in the mountains of California in a place called Running Springs. He wasn't loving living in LA, so he just got like a separate place. And he moved there while he was shooting Veronica Mars. He said that it was like calm and beautiful. It was just what he wanted, but his kids didn't like it. It was isolated, and his kids would get freaked out there at night because it was one of those places where, like, when it's dark, it is dark, like black, and it's quiet, but it's like a whole new level of quiet. There's not like ambient city noise or anything. You're like up in the mountains or whatever. So when he would go up there, he ended up going by himself because his kids really didn't like it. So he would just go solo. And at this point, I was like, oh, this guy's going to lay it on thick for us, because he says, like, it's dark, I went there by myself, and he pauses and he says, I mean, no one would hear you scream if you had to. And I was like, okay.
All right.
That ended up really not be, he wasn't really like that throughout the rest of the thing, but I was like, ooh. So he said he started experiencing weird, typical ghost stuff, like doors were slamming, the TV was turning on and off, and he started getting more and more freaked out to go up there. But he didn't want to tell anybody because there was nothing like tangible, and he didn't want to seem ridiculous.
Yeah.
So he would still, go up there every once in a while, like he had been, and he didn't actually see or feel anything. So it didn't seem like it was enough to sell it, but it continued to be freaky. So then one morning he was there and he was eating breakfast, and he said that he heard a woman's voice outside the house. Like somebody was just like standing outside talking, and he was like, that's weird. And he kind of like stayed inside for a moment. And then it sounded like they were moving, like it's as if somebody was like walking around the outside of your house talking. And so then he got up and went outside and looked, and nobody was there, of course.
Would you get up and look?
I guess if that's like the first, like, because he said it sounded just as if a person was talking. You know what I mean? So
all right. Yeah.
It's not like he's so isolated that nobody could get there. So even though strange things would be happening, I guess I would be like, maybe there is somebody here?
I forget. He's there with his kids, right?
No, he's by himself.
Okay. See, that makes a difference to me.
Yeah.
If I were experiencing
He's only by
that,
himself from now on.
If you're by yourself, I feel like you stay inside. If you've got like your family and you feel like you've got to make sure things are safe, I think then you do the tough thing and you go investigate.
Yeah. I mean, when somebody knocks on the door and like there's not supposed to be anybody coming, I never go to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely not.
So I wouldn't.
I was
but
checking at someone trying to get me to sign up for like
it's always
solar panels
constantly.
or something.
Yeah.
Someone stopped me the other day. This episode, I'm gonna stop. No, I'm done. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I interrupt too much.
No, but anyway, so I wouldn't, but I can see how somebody would be like, so if somebody's outside, like, what's the deal? So I get it. But yeah, nobody's there. And then later that night at like 3 a.m, the doorbell rang. So I'm definitely not getting up and checking this. So the editors did their like weird thing here where you're like, wait, so what happened? Before they even show him saying the doorbell rang, they just have his voiceover saying that night around 3 a.m. They have like a little business in the reenactment where they show him in bed and do weird angles while they play the sound of a guy screaming.
Oh, God.
So I thought there was going to be something like scary that happened in the middle of the night, or he had bad nightmares or something. But nope, they're just like hyping it up.
They do Goosebumps.
So goofy.
It's like Goosebumps editing on this show.
Yeah.
Like in the Goosebumps books, even if something boring is happening, where it's like, I got up in the morning and I made breakfast. The chapter one with them going like, and then I heard a sound.
Yeah, it's like
Chapter
my
2.
mom was pushing toast into the toaster.
Exactly. And it's just like, well, that was a fake scare to get me into the next chapter.
Yeah.
That's how Celebrity Ghost Stories is. Even if something completely benign happened, they'll do the quick cut
Totally.
music video editing to act as if the most horrifying thing has occurred.
It was exactly that. So anyway, the doorbell rings and he gets up and no one is there. It's just the woods all around him, scary stuff. Then 2 hours later, it happens again. Same deal. He goes out, no one's there. But this time, when he's standing outside, he feels a hand brush against his cheek.
Which cheek? It matters.
It does matter. Good question. We didn't go
I don't
over
know.
Enrico Colantoni's sleepwear.
Oh, good God.
We talking in the buff?
I know.
We talking
Oh my God. If you heard someone talking and I went out to investigate,
hands on hips.
I sleep in the nude.
So he went back to bed and just thought, this is not good, and was freaked out and just basically waited for daylight. He said he could not sleep.
Yeah.
So then he's still up there though. And the next night in the middle of the night, again, this was like a little unclear because of the editing, but what was clear is that he heard a woman screaming at the top of her lungs, insanely loud, and it sounded like it was in his room with him.
Ooh.
Just screaming, screaming, screaming. And I couldn't tell whether he was saying that he saw her as well. The editing was showing a woman screaming, and he said something like it kind of seemed like he maybe saw her, but he didn't go into any detail. He didn't say she looked like this, whatever. So I can't tell whether he was saying he saw her or not, but he certainly said he heard her. And of course, the ghost story people put some mustard on it, so who knows?
Yeah.
And so he went and slept in the living room, and he said he never slept upstairs in his room again after that. So after that happened, he was like, all right, this is all too weird. And he called a friend of his who was a clairvoyant who came over to like check out the situation. And this is all kind of funny to me. So she spoke to the entity that was in the home and told the spirit that they were dead and they needed to move on, kind of assuming that it was somebody who was like stuck between realms. And she told Enrico that she was gleaning that from the beyond, that 100 years ago, there was an outpost where the home was, and that this woman who was there haunting him had survived at this location, but went crazy from the isolation and eventually died there. And his friend said that this woman thought that she was still alive, but that the friend was able to send her away into the next, the beyond. And he was like, okay, great. This is over. Thank God. But it was not over.
Oh.
The lady was still fully there. He could hear her walking around outside all the time. And he said that he didn't even tell his friend because he didn't want to disappoint her. So I guess we'll have to see whether she watches the show or not. And he said and then just ends abruptly, basically. He says he just couldn't deal with it and he sold it, and that was that.
The Ace Frehley method.
Exactly.
The Ace Frehley solution. Just move and sell the house.
Yeah.
And then say good luck to the next person.
Totally.
That I love the idea. The only thing scarier than a ghost is a ghost of a quote unquote insane person.
Yeah.
Right? Because like something about ghosts behaving rationally, it's easier to wrap your head around. But if it's a ghost of somebody who's not going to respond to the in good faith exorcism of you're dead, it's time to move on.
Right, then what can you do?
What can you possibly do?
You're just completely out of luck.
Yeah, that's the scariest version to me.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
the scary stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Enrico Colantoni.
He's been through it.
He's been
Colantoni.
Colantoni. Well, thank God he sold that house.
I know.
I hope he got a good profit.
Me too.
I love also like the real estate
selling
the real
aspect of
estate
it.
portion of ghost houses. It's very interesting to me.
I have been so into this show. I highly recommend it. I love it. It's called Ugliest House in America.
Okay.
It's on Max. It's with Retta. And it's basically what it sounds like. She goes and checks out these houses that are like super ugly, and they always have a little thing in the beginning that's just on the screen. It'll say like James and Jenny bought this for $100K under asking or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would like to know if Enrico sold this for what under asking.
I know for a song.
Yeah.
What was it like? Yeah,
Right.
totally. All right, everybody. Well, those are more celebrities with more ghosts.
Yes.
I love it.
It's great.
George Wendt is getting bumped. It's okay. I think he's
We'll
used
see
to
him
that.
next time. Oh, poor George.
I'm going to keep making that joke. Anytime you have to bump, anytime there's just not enough time to talk about another celebrity ghost story,
I know.
I'm going to bump you. I'm sure you're used to it. It's so insulting. It's so dismissive and insulting. I last said that about Eric Balfour. It's very funny to me.
It's also so funny though, because like getting bumped is pretty specifically like a comedian thing. So
Yeah,
like
true,
Eric
true.
Balfour's not getting bumped.
No, you're right.
But
yeah.
it's still funny.
It's funny, very
Yeah.
funny to me. All right, everybody, we're definitely doing it again. There's nothing you can do to stop us. I love doing this.
Love it.
I love
it. Is a dream.
Doing this. Try to stop.
I
us.
wrote in my journal last night, one of the things I was grateful for is researching celebrity ghost stories. It's so fun.
The only thing sad about it is that there is a finite amount, and a finite amount of interest I have. Is there a celebrity who's too minor for you to have any interest in covering?
No. I mean, we'll scrape the bottom of the barrel at some point, but I'm still interested in hearing their story.
The story, that's
You know what I
true.
mean?
The story itself is the star.
Because I'm interested in hearing people's stories who aren't celebrities. So
Yes.
sure, it'll be somebody who I don't even know who they are because they're like a sports person, but I'll still want to do it.
That's a great point. Yeah, to me, ultimately, the point of these episodes is the ghost story.
Yeah.
And then it's very fun launching for stuff to be
Yeah,
like,
you're
it
like, oh,
happened
it's
to this.
also Eric Estrada.
Yeah, you're right. That's the plus. This is about the ghost stories.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I
It's
like
great.
that.
And then when we burn through celebrity ghost stories proper, we we were just before the show started, realized there's also Famously Afraid, which only has like
Right.
6 episodes.
I know,
or
there's
something.
a handful
They're like
of
little
episodes.
spin-offs we can. I think we've got. It'll take a long time anyway.
Yeah,
but
that's probably pretty
celebrities
true.
talking about their hauntings. Just keep going and going and going.
And then beyond that, I think we're going to start to terrorize a few celebrities ourselves, make them think they have a ghost,
Yeah.
and hopefully, get around to that.
Don't worry.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for your support. Patreon.com/GTTUpod.
Yes.
If you want more, if you want to back us, if you're in a position to, and
Yes,
thank you so much to
thank you so
everybody
much.
who does. Greatly, greatly appreciated. We will be back next week with more bizarre stories of a
Yes.
different sort, no doubt. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld go we. Bizarre.
Mom says I'm really annoyed about that toe tickling story.
You and me both, Mom. I'm shocked.
I hadn't thought of that in a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop thinking about it in a few minutes.
I get that.